The glow from the monitor painted Alex Carter's face in cold light, the kind that erases warmth and exposes guilt. The house was silent except for the hum of the computer and the faint rhythm of his heart. Jenna's voice still echoed in his mind. "Don't look at my emails." But curiosity had teeth, and tonight it bit deep. He opened her inbox, scrolled and found nothing, until his eyes caught the folder she thought I'd never touch. Deleted items, he clicked. The room seemed to inhale. Subject lines rolled like gravestones. "It's done. No one can know. The same sender every time. Dr. Ellis." His father's doctor. His hand froze on the mouse, breath thick in his chest. Then, a new email appeared on the screen. From Jenna's account. "Sent just now. Stop looking." The cursor blinked like a pulse. He turned toward the dark hallway as faint footsteps descended from upstairs. Would you forgive someone if the truth was worse than the lie? Morning arrived like a stranger. The air smelled of coffee and lies. Alex sat at the kitchen table, eyes raw from a sleepless night, watching Jenna slice an apple with surgical precision. She hummed softly, pretending not to notice his stare. He tried to speak, but words felt dangerous. She looked up once, smiling too gently. "You stayed up late again." Her tone was light, practiced. The knife glinted as she cut through the fruit, each slice deliberate, measured. He nodded, fighting the urge to confront her, to ask about the emails, about Dr. Ellis. But her calmness was too precise, too studied. "You trust me, don't you?" he asked finally. The pause that followed was longer than a heartbeat. "Of course," she said, her green eyes unwavering. "Why wouldn't I?" Alex spent the afternoon searching. The air in the house felt heavier now. Every door creaked like a warning. Behind Jenna's vanity mirror, he found a small silver USB drive marked with a red dot. He plugged it in, pulse hammering. A single file appeared. Patient 417.mp4. The screen with static, then a dim hospital room. His father, alive, lay hooked to machines. A hand entered the frame, injecting something clear into his IV. The figure leaned into view. Dr. Ellis. But then, Jenna's voice. Calm, whispering. No mistakes this time. The video ended abruptly. Alex stared at the frozen frame, the reflection of his own horror staring back from the dark screen. The front door creaked open. Jenna returned early, rain clinging to her coat. Alex hurriedly ejected the drive, slipping it into his pocket. She looked at him for a long moment, too long. "You're home," she said. "I thought you were meeting Ellis." The name fell like glass shattering. She smiled faintly, setting her purse down. "You really should stop snooping, Alex." Her voice was soft but sharpened at the edges. He forced a smile, throat dry. "What did you say?" She tilted her head, eyes narrowing just slightly. "I said dinner's in the fridge," but the pause before her answer said everything. That night, Alex couldn't sleep. He replayed the video in his head until the details blurred into nightmare. The whisper. The syringe. His father's fading pulse. At 3:12 a.m., his phone buzzed. Unknown number. One message. "You weren't supposed to see that." He sat upright, scanning the shadows of the room. The hall light flicked on by itself. The faint creak of a floorboard followed. He stood slowly, gripping his phone like a weapon, the text glowing against his pale fingers. The truth wasn't hiding anymore. It was walking toward him. The next morning felt unreal, like the world was rehearsing normalcy for his benefit. Alex sat in his car outside the hospital, engine off, listening to the rain strike the windshield in rhythmic bursts. The USB was gone. He'd checked his pockets, his desk, the drawer where he hid it. It had vanished overnight. Dr. Ellis' name still burned in his mind, an echo of betrayal looping endlessly. He stepped out, water pooling around his shoes, and walked through the automatic doors. The hospital smelled sterile, quiet except for distant beeping. At the front desk, the nurse smile faltered when he asked for Ellis. "He doesn't work here anymore," she said softly. "He's been dead for 6 months." The world seemed to tilt. Alex stumbled back, rainwater dripping from his jacket, mind unraveling. If Ellis was dead, who sent those emails? Back home, the house felt smaller, suffocating. Jenna wasn't there. Her phone lay on the counter, unlocked, displaying a single open message thread. The name at the top chilled him, Dr. Ellis. Message history erased. Except one, a draft unsent. He knows. His pulse pounded in his ears. Then he noticed the timestamp. 5 minutes ago. His breath caught. A car engine idled outside. Peering through the curtain, he saw a dark sedan parked across the street, engine running, windows tinted. Someone was watching. He turned off the lights. That night, Alex followed Jenna. She left without a word, dressed in dark jeans and a hooded coat, car headlights slicing through mist. He tailed her from a distance, his hands gripping the wheel, heart hammering. She stopped at a remote clinic off an empty highway, its neon sign flickering weakly. She entered alone. Alex waited, rain tapping the windshield like whispered warning. After 20 minutes, the door opened again. Not Jenna, but a man in surgical scrubs, tall, broad-shouldered. In his hand, a briefcase. He looked around once, locking eyes with Alex through the rain. Then he smiled. Alex's headlights cut through fog as he drove after the man's car. The chase wound through forested roads slick with rain. The briefcase sat visible in the passenger seat of the other vehicle. His mind raced. What could be inside? Blood samples? Evidence? Proof? The man's taillights vanished suddenly into darkness. When Alex turned the bend, the road was empty. No car, no lights, only the endless rain. He slowed, confused, until something glimmered in the headlights. A phone, lying in the middle of the road. Jenna's phone. The screen lit up on its own. A new message appeared. "You're next." He returned home trembling, soaked through, phone clutched like a lifeline. The house was dark, silent, but the faint hum of the computer upstairs drew him like gravity. He climbed slowly, each step creaking. In his office, the monitor was already on. His email inbox glowed. New message. From Jenna Carter. Subject line, confession. He opened it. The message contained a video attachment. He hit play. Jenna appeared on screen, face pale, eyes swollen from crying. "If you're watching this," she whispered, "then it's too late. I didn't kill your father. I tried to save him." She paused, trembling. "But Ellis wasn't who you think he was, and neither am I." The screen went black. A faint sound came from behind him. Footsteps. The sound behind him froze Alex in place. He turned slowly, heart pounding. Jenna stood in the doorway, drenched from rain, hair plastered to her face, her expression unreadable. "You weren't supposed to see that," she whispered. Her voice trembled, not with fear, but exhaustion. The silence between them felt alive, electric. "Who are you, Jenna?" he asked. She looked at him for a long moment, then smiled weakly. "Someone who ran out of choices." She stepped forward, glancing at the monitor still displaying her face in the paused video. "He wasn't your father anymore, Alex. Ellis changed him. You wouldn't understand." He wanted to scream, to demand answers, but something in her eyes stopped him. Pity, regret. "He'll come tonight," she murmured, voice low. "And when they do..." "Don't run!" The rain outside intensified, slamming against the windows like fists. Jenna sat on the couch now, wrapped in a towel, staring blankly at the floor. Alex paced before her, torn between anger and disbelief. "You said Ellis was dead," he said. She nodded slowly. "He is, but not the way you think." Her hands trembled as she spoke. "They're still using his research. The serum. It doesn't heal, Alex. It erases." He frowned, confused. "Erases what?" Her eyes lifted to meet his. "Memories. People. Versions of us they couldn't control." She leaned forward, whispering, "You were part of it too. You just don't remember." Alex couldn't breathe. The walls felt closer now. Memories bleeding into fragments. Images of hospital corridors, metal tables, white lights. He saw flashes. Ellis's voice, Jenna in scrubs, his father screaming. Then blackness. He staggered back, gripping his head. "Stop," he muttered. Jenna reached for him, but he flinched away. "You're lying," her voice cracked. "Think about it. Why can't you remember the night he died?" He froze. The memory, fogged, hollow, refused to surface. "Because they took it from you," she whispered. "And they'll take more if you stay." They moved fast. Jenna grabbed a small duffel bag from the closet, stuffing it with documents and a handgun wrapped in cloth. Alex followed, dazed, adrenaline cutting through confusion. "Who are they?" he demanded. "The ones Ellis worked for," she said, zipping the bag. "They don't just erase memories, they replace them." She handed him a small flash drive. "Everything we were is in here. If they get it, we're gone." Sirens wailed faintly in the distance, growing closer. Jenna turned to him, eyes fierce. "You still don't trust me, do you?" He stared back, voice barely audible. "I don't know who to trust." The night erupted in chaos. Tires screeched outside, doors slammed. Alex and Jenna slipped out the back door into the storm, running through mud and shadows. Headlights cut across the backyard as figures in black coats shouted, flashlights slicing through rain. Alex followed Jenna through the woods, branches whipping against their faces. "This way!" she shouted. They stumbled toward an old barn at the edge of the property. Inside, the smell of rust and earth filled the air. Jenna turned to him, soaked, breath ragged. "If they find us," she whispered, "you have to do it. Use the drive." He opened his mouth to ask what she meant, but a spotlight blazed through the cracks in the wall. Someone was already inside. The barn reeked of oil and old wood. Rain hammered the tin roof, masking the sound of boots crunching outside. Alex and Jenna crouched behind a rusted tractor, both soaked and trembling. Flashlight beams swept across the walls, moving closer. Jenna clutched the duffel bag to her chest. "They won't stop," she whispered. "They think you still have it." Alex frowned. "The drive frowned." "You gave it to me." She shook her head. "No, Alex. I gave you the copy. They need the original." He stared, realization dawning. Then where? The door burst open, flooding the barn with light. 3 men in black coats entered, faces hidden behind masks. "Give it to us," one of them said calmly, "or she dies." Alex froze. The lead man raised his gun, the metallic click echoing through the barn. Jenna stood slowly, hands trembling. "Don't," Alex whispered. He met his eyes. Calm now, almost resigned. "Not if I give them what they want." From her pocket, she pulled a tiny vial of clear liquid. The leader nodded once. "Good girl." Alex's confusion deepened. "What is that?" She looked at him, her voice breaking. "The real memory. The one I kept hidden." Before he could move, she hurled the vial to the ground. It shattered, releasing a white vapor that spread fast. The men shouted. Everything went blinding white. When the air cleared, the barn was empty, except for Alex, coughing, disoriented. The men were gone. So was Jenna. Outside, the storm had calmed to a drizzle, the air heavy with silence. He stumbled into the open field, calling her name. No answer. Mud clung to his shoes, his breath visible in the cold air. He spotted tire tracks leading toward the tree line, fresh. He followed them, heart pounding, until he saw something glint in the grass. Her wedding ring, half buried in the mud. He picked it up, thumb brushing over the engraving inside. It wasn't her name. It was his. He drove for hours, chasing coordinates scribbled on the back of a photo he found in the duffel. The numbers led to a remote industrial complex surrounded by barbed wire. The sign read, Ellis Research Facility, restricted access. Inside, the halls were abandoned, fluorescent lights flickering overhead. He followed faint sounds. A heartbeat monitor, steady and slow. Then he saw it. A lab filled with capsules, each containing a person suspended in milky fluid. His knees went weak. In the third capsule, face serene, was Jenna, eyes closed, alive, but motionless. A computer nearby displayed her vitals. Status. Memory rebuild. 73%. His trembling hands reached for the pod, pressing against the cold glass. Her chest rose faintly, mechanical and fragile. On the desk nearby, a terminal displayed hundreds of archived memory files labeled with dates, his name among them. Subject A. Carter, Alex. Memory lock, protocol. His reflection in the glass blurred with hers. He scrolled through the files, opening one. It showed Jenna injecting his father, but then the camera shifted. The man on the table wasn't his father. It was him. His heart stopped. The date stamp was last year. He looked up at Jenna's peaceful face, realization dawning like a wound reopening. He wasn't remembering. He was being rebooted. The walls seemed to breathe. Every hum of machinery echoed like a heartbeat. Alex stumbled back from the screen, his pulse ragged. The truth clawed at the edge of his sanity. He wasn't the husband searching for answers. He was the experiment. His memories, his grief, even his suspicion of Jenna. Programmed triggers in a test that had gone too far. The lab lights dimmed suddenly. Alarms wailed, red strobes pulsing against the sterile walls. Containment breach. A voice droned from hidden speakers. Alex turned toward the glass pod. Jenna's eyes were open now, staring right at him, unblinking. You shouldn't have come back, she whispered through the speaker line. They'll erase you again. Glass shattered behind him as robotic arms retracted from the pods. The power flickered, plunging the room into intermittent darkness. Alex ran toward the control console, fingers flying over keys. Files scrolled by. Experiments labeled memory rebuild. Synthetic emotion, subject integration. His own name appeared again and again. Subject at Carter, Alex. Revision pending. He pulled the flash drive from his pocket. The copy Jenna had given him. Plugging it in, he hit extract. Warnings flooded the screen. Authorized access. The floor trembled. Then the monitor flickered to life again, displaying a single line. Welcome back, Dr. Carter. His body froze as the voice returned. Smooth, clinical, protocol, reinstated doctor. He stepped back, heart in his throat. No, I'm not him. The console's camera adjusted, focusing on his face. Identity confirmed. Neural sequence complete. Behind him, the pods hissed open. Jenna stepped out, unsteady but conscious, eyes unfocused. You made me remember, she murmured. Why? He shook his head. I don't even know who I am. Her expression softened, tragic. You built me to love you, Alex. But when I learned what you did, I deleted the part of me that cared. He stared, broken. Then why warn me? Her tears mixed with condensation. Because even false love remembers the pain. Sirens blared again. Heavy boots echoed in the corridors. Jenna grabbed Alex's arm. They'll wipe everything. You have to choose. Save me, or save yourself. He stared at her, conflict tearing through him. If I destroy the servers, will it stop them? She nodded faintly. Yes. But you'll lose everything too. Your memories, your mind. Everything that makes you, you. Outside, voices shouted orders. The metallic hiss of weapons loading filled the air. Alex looked at her, tears cutting through grime. Then I'll finally be free? He turned, pulling the emergency override lever. The room erupted in light. Silence. Smoke hung heavy in the air, swallowing light. The servers burned, sparks cascading like dying stars. Alex knelt amid the wreckage, coughing, the world flickering between memory and nothingness. Jenna lay beside him, breathing shallowly. You did it, she whispered faintly. He looked at her through the haze. Did I? Her hand found his, weak but warm. Maybe it's better not to remember. As alarms faded, he closed his eyes, the flashing lights slowing like a dying heartbeat. The screen on the nearby console blinked one last time, memory erasure complete. Then darkness swallowed everything. Except her voice, faint and distant. Don't look at my emails. Darkness stretched endless. The air hummed faintly, not with machines, but with thought. Alex opened his eyes to find himself sitting in a chair inside a white room, clean, infinite, silent. His clothes were gone, replaced by sterile gray. A single screen flickered to life before him, displaying his own face. Test complete, said a familiar voice. His own recorded. Subject achieved full awareness. Initiating rebuild. He stood slowly, panic rising. The walls rippled, reacting to his breath. Where's Jenna? He shouted. The voice answered. Calm, detached. Jenna Carter was a construct. You deleted her. He stumbled back, horror blooming. No, she was real. The screen glitched, his reflection twisting into her face, whispering. Are you? The walls shimmered again, revealing fragments of memory like cracks in glass. Flashes of the office, the emails, Jenna's smile, his father's hand. They played around him in suspended motion. Memory integration failure, the voice said. Identity conflict detected. He reached toward one of the fragments, touching the image of Jenna laughing on their wedding day. It dissolved into static. The room darkened, pixels raining from the ceiling like digital ash. Stop, he shouted. I remember everything, but the voice only replied, You remember what we gave you. He sank to his knees as the fragments fell apart. The last one to fade was Jenna whispering, Run! He woke again, this time in his house. The morning light was perfect, warm, real. The air smelled of coffee. Jenna stood at the counter, hair tied up, smiling. He stayed up late again, she teased. His heart froze. Jenna! She laughed. Who else would it be? The kitchen felt identical to that morning before everything began. But when he glanced at the laptop on the counter, his inbox was open. The same subject line blinked unread. It's done. His throat tightened. No, he whispered. Jenna turned toward him, smile fading. You looked again, didn't you? The illusion cracked. The light flickered, the sound of static bleeding into the room. Jenna's face glitched, smiling, frowning, blank. Stop it! Alex shouted, knocking the laptop from the counter. You're not real. She blinked, eyes flickering like screens resetting. You said you wanted the truth, she replied, voice overlapping in multiple tones. The kitchen melted away, walls stretching into darkness. What are you? He demanded. She stepped closer, her face splitting into two flickering images, one warm, one cold. I'm everything you erased to forget what you did. Darkness again. But this time he didn't wake. He floated in the white void, surrounded by faint whispers, echoes of all the versions of himself that came before. "You keep looking," one voice said. "You always look." He reached out and felt resistance, like touching glass. Beyond it, another Alex mirrored his movement, eyes hollow. "You were never meant to find her," the reflection said. "You built the lie to protect yourself." He pressed his palm harder, glass cracking between them. "Then break it," he whispered. The reflection smiled. "You already did." The world shattered, light pouring through every fracture like truth, finally cutting through denial. Light returned in slow pulses, like a heartbeat trying to remember its rhythm. Alex stood amid fragments of the white void, now suspended in mid-air, each shard replaying pieces of his life. The air vibrated with faint whispers of Jenna, of Ellis, of himself. "System stabilization complete," a soft mechanical voice murmured. He turned, facing a transparent corridor of light, stretching into infinity. At its end stood Jenna, or her outline, waiting. "This is the last file," the voice continued. "The moment you never faced." Alex walked forward, every step echoing like glass cracking underfoot. His reflection followed in reverse, whispering, "Don't look." He kept walking. He reached her. She looked almost human again. No flicker, no distortion. "Do you remember now?" she asked softly. "Ellis didn't make you forget. You did. You couldn't live with what you'd done." His throat closed. "I didn't kill my father." She stepped closer, touching his chest. "You turned the experiment on him, Alex. To save me." The corridor shuddered as if the world itself recoiled. "He was dying," Alex said, voice cracking. "It was mercy." Jenna shook her head, eyes full of sorrow. "It was pride. You wanted to prove you could rewrite death." The walls flickered. His father's face appeared, screaming soundlessly. The corridor collapsed into darkness. Alex awoke in the lab again, but everything was burning. Consoles sparked, glass pods cracked open, alarms screamed. Jenna lay beside him, coughing. "You can still end it," she rasped. "Erase everything. Start clean." He looked at her, then at the main server flickering on the wall. "If I do that, none of this will have mattered." She smiled weakly. "Maybe that's mercy too." Flames licked the walls, the sound of collapsing steel echoing overhead. "One more choice, Alex," she whispered, fading. "Be the man who forgets, or the one who remembers." He staggered toward the server core, coughing through the smoke. Memories bled into one another. His childhood, the research, Jenna's laughter, all layering like transparent film. He inserted the flash drive one final time. The monitor asked, "Erase or restore?" His trembling finger hovered. In the reflection of the glass, he saw two versions of himself. One pleading to forget, the other begging to remember. "Would you forgive someone if the truth was worse than the lie?" he whispered. The building groaned. He closed his eyes and pressed a key. The screen went white. Silence again, but not empty. Waves of soft light rippled through space, folding the lab, the memories, the pain into calm white. Nothing. Alex sat at a desk in a familiar office, bathed in morning glow. His laptop waited, screen blank except for one unread message. The sender, Jenna. He hesitated, fingers resting on the mouse. Outside, the city looked peaceful, ordinary. The email subject read, "Don't look." He smiled faintly, a tear tracing down his cheek. "Maybe this time," he whispered, "I won't." The cursor hovered, then clicked.